Hi, my name is Pawel Stefan Bielecki. I'm a designer currently graduating from Design School Kolding. And this is the artifact of my thesis, which is study on horror and horror elements in child culture, mostly throughout the ages, but also how can it be repositioned in current media by using puppet theater. So all the things started when I visited Puppet Museum in Estonia, and I've realized that a lot of puppets, even when they are trying not to be scary, they are still quite eerie, quite creepy. And I wanted to know why, especially that puppet theater was mostly dedicated for younger audiences. And then I found a lot of texts that were talking about the feeling of uncanny, of objection, which is mostly our response to something not quite right, not quite human, not quite natural. Because by experiencing something creepy, something eerie, we also experience this weird curiosity, the will to open the locked door that we know that something scary is behind them, but we still want to open them. So that's why in most of the horror movies we just like, oh my god, don't open this door, and someone opens them, because that's our natural curious reaction as humans. And that's why the horror is actually important. For now, they're also studying how horror can be a part of recreational experiences. And I believe theater can be a good example for this, because it's much more involving than film, because you can actually interact with the puppeteer. You can, I don't know, from something from the audience towards the puppet, or the puppet can come down to the spectators and, I don't know, just say hi or something, and that builds much deeper connection, impossible to achieve with digital media, because there's always the screen that divides the unreal with our normal life. So that's the barrier I wanted to cross. And I believe I achieved this, in a sense, by creating Josh, the puppet who doesn't want to be a human, because that's his backstory. As most of the puppets want to become human, want to be alive, this little fella, he doesn't. He's happy to be a puppet. He's already ugly. He knows that he is, and if he becomes human, he will probably become an ugly human. So he doesn't want to enter the world which is cruel to people who look different, to the world that punishes for some for being impaired or for just being ugly. So that's the backstory of Josh. Well, to be exact, like the whole design process, I started from smaller forms, and I thought about actually making either like not exactly puppets, but like, you know, like these small patines, just like this, with maybe not scary face, but like to be controllable. Like you have two puppets in your hands, or the puppets that can be put on your hand. So as this example. The hand puppets, like in case of Muppets, they also have this like eeriness, because normally it's just a piece of clothing, but when you put the movement into it, it can be slightly disturbing, especially if I would be hidden. So that can also change the perception of it. I experimented a little also with other forms, and like maybe putting some old elements into like one marionette. I try to connect this small person with some strings, but marionettes is the whole different method of creating puppets, which has its own difficulties. And I think just the bigger scale allows the horror to be more like experienced in a better way, because with the small one we either have to be close, or it has to be like really scary from the distance. But here we can see that something is off just by the movement. I created pieces like this when I was testing them to see what's gonna be the most scary option, and yeah, I basically came out with the elements that I connected here, but also some unfinished projects or elements, like this small worm thingy that I thought might be element for this, but then I decided to kind of focus on more just the creepiness of human likeness instead of adding the like too much supernatural elements. In a sense, it was a multi-step process. The element that I also thought might be good to imitate as human as possible were eyes. Here is a very simple method of styrofoam with painted eye, and on top of that there is a plastic layer to imitate the shiny aspect of our. That's the process. And in terms of the future of the puppet, well, we'll see. I think it might be a good entry for any theater to try to experience the horror. Josh is here, he's ready to perform, and we will see how many people he can terrify.